In this video, we will show you how to integrate MongoDB with Active Directory leveraging Centrify. But first, some of the mechanisms that we can use with MongoDB, they're really well documented by them. And today we're going to use in this video first, in this part, we're going to use the SASL mechanism. So what's SASL? SASL stands for Simple Authentication and Security Layer. And basically what it does, it abstracts the authentication from the application, just like PAM does. But it allows to use different methods for that. For example, notice that SASL can use GSS API, NTLM, or even plain. So this is what we're going to be using with SASL. We're going to be using the plain mechanism. Notice that it says clear text password in that. So what would be the benefit of you using Centrify to integrate with MongoDB? The big benefit is because it's a Linux platform. With Centrify, you have a proven platform to integrate with AD and very robust access control mechanisms and privilege management. And if using the session capture and replay, you get auditing as well. As it relates to how we're going to use it with SASL and Active Directory, one benefit is that it's not clear communications. Typically, if you use it with typical LDAP connectivity, the passwords were going clear text over LDAP. But because we're going to be using SASL with PAM, ultimately the communications through the Centrify agent and Active Directory are going to be encrypted via Kerberos. Finally, another mechanism is high availability. Notice that you typically in the traditional method have to specify multiple LDAP servers. That layer is abstracted for you by the Centrify agent that uses Active Directory sites and services. And also caching is available, so if there's no communications with AD, you can leverage cache credentials. So in this part of the video, we're going to check that the system has SASL auth already installed. We're going to test it, and then we're going to set up the service and the PAM module for MongoDB. So let's go ahead and do that. So I have a system here, Cent3, and Cent3 is already defined to be able to use, it already has the enterprise version of MongoDB. So I'm going to go ahead and log in with George. So this system has already the Centrify agent, and as you can see, I can run AD info already connected in my Contoso environment. And if I do an AD query user, it'll show you that basically 2 users can log in. So I'm going to go ahead and make another session with my test user, and that will be Cosmo. Let's put it right here on the side. Okay, so to check first if SASL auth is installed, you could just, this is a CentOS system, so you could do service SASL auth and status. Notice that the service is stopped. You also need to make sure that the plain text plugin that is required is in the system. So I'm going to do a yum install of that. It's called Cyrus SASL Plain. Notice that I elevated with Centrify and has sudo to be able to run that privilege command. So while that installs, we can actually go ahead and inspect the config file for SASL. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. So the things that you have to keep in mind with this are the directory that has the socket. So the socket is in this folder right here. You need to make sure that the permissions are correct, and the name of it is MUX. By default, the mechanism here is PAM, and let me just go ahead and say yes over here. So this should be a configuration that should be ready to go. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and test if SASL is working good with PAM, and I'm going to use any PAM protocol. So if I want to launch it, it's very simple. All I need to do is do it interactively. So I'm going to do SASL auth, and I'm going to use the method is going to be PAM, and I'm going to do it with debug. So I've launched Sassel, and all I need to do is use any PAM module with the test Sassel auth binary to test plain text connectivity. So I'm going to go ahead and basically what I'm doing, I'm using test Sassel with my user Cosmo. This is the password right here, and I'm going to use, you know what, I'm going to change this. I'm going to use SSHD as the PAM module I'm going to use, and that's the socket. And there you go. That means that it worked. And at this point, I'm ready to do a few things. I know that my my PAM module for SSHD is going to work. So for MongoDB, there's no PAM module. So I'm going to do, I'm going to copy the etc PAMD and SSHD, and I'm going to copy that particular PAM module configuration to etc PAMD. And I'm going to do MongoDB. MongoD. So that basically created an entry for MongoD. I could test it if I want as well. Very simple. So I could just change the login, basically the protocol here, and there you go. So what that guarantees is that that PAM module is going to work. Now, we're going to go ahead and make sure that the Sassel auth service is going to run automatically. So I'm going to do do check config, and that's going to start it. And if I do a check config for that particular service, notice that it's already running. So we've actually tested Sassel, make sure that it's running, and we've added a PAM module for MongoDB. In the next one, we're going to basically test on MongoDB.